Ba 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 ba. It's June. Ba 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 ba. We did a readathon.
Sort of.
Ba 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 ba. Here we go. My name's Jess.
My name's Hannah.
And we read another 4 books this month. We read more than that, but we both read the same 4 books this month. And so we're going to talk about it because we actually had at least one other person that read at least 75% of one of these books as well. And now you all have to live with the consequences. But first off, how are you?
I'm well. I'm doing pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hung out with some friends this week. Worked this week. I'm actually killing it at work sales-wise, so my numbers are going to be crazy for June. So that's nice, because then, they'll get off my ass. For legal reasons, that's a joke. Don't come for me, HR, please. And honestly, I have nothing for you. I've just been trying to read, but I've been in a hardcore reading slump, and we won't get into why. But I'm feeling pretty good. I'm just sort of just going with the flow and letting myself enjoy things as they come and trying not to overanalyze and be all up in my head and trying not to ruin things for myself by creating stress for myself, because I have been in a state of stress for many, many years. And so it's to the point now where my brain is like, oh, there's no stress. Cool. Let me find something. And I'm like, no, actually, we don't need to do that. Maybe just slow down a little bit there. And so I'm just trying to practice that and be nice to myself and allow myself this time of rest. And I'm getting ready for my trip, and I'm just vibing and trying to just be still for the first time since I was 8. So yeah. That's where we're at this week. And I had a long week also. Just I saw some friends and everything, and it was good. But also I got yelled at work by a client and just about had a panic attack. So, I've been sort of just out of sorts and a little bit exhausted since that, because, adrenaline rush. But overall, it's fine. How are you?
It's been a really long week, and we are girl bossing very close to the sun right now. It's getting very hot in here. We're feeling a little singed, but we are still at it. I'm preparing for a move, which is a very stressful time for me personally, and work is very, very busy and will be for the next 2 weeks. However, after that, I also have a trip because we are going to a bookstore together in Saskatoon, and we get a little road trip.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of counting down every second until that starts.
For real?
Because what the fuck?
For real. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's just been a lot going on, and so we're trying to just breathe through it. I had somebody tell me today that I could do with being a little more unhinged.
That was me.
And that, it was. And then it might help my tummy, and you know what? You're probably right about that, because my tummy is fucked up right now.
Yeah, you listen, you gotta let that shit out.
I have been. It's not helping.
I don't mean that shit. I mean all the other shit that you're keeping together at all times. Girl, let it go.
Oh my god.
You do not
my
need
shit is
to be
so tightly together.
Yeah.
All of the time.
I know. That's why you're bursting at the seams.
Yeah.
Just go dancing, okay? Have a good time.
Oh my god, yeah. I totally forgot about that. I'm going dancing tomorrow for, this is going to sound so dumb. I'm going dancing for the first time tomorrow.
Yay! I'm so excited.
Oh my god, I'm so fucking scared. And it's definitely not helping the tummy situation. But we're getting there. We're doing it anyway. We're doing it scared because I want to learn to enjoy dancing because I really don't like dancing right now. I will admit that I don't like moving my body and feeling my body move, and that's just very uncomfortable. But we're doing it anyway. And so, you know what? If you got to do it scared. That's the lesson here.
That's what I always say.
I know.
If you're scared, do it scared. If you're sad, do it sad.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing. We're doing it scared. We're doing it stressed. We're doing it tired. We're just doing it.
Good. As you should. Mm-hmm. And then I'm hoping that then you will be open to going dancing with me when I see you. Because I love to go dancing. I think that dancing is delicious on the body. And I enjoy it thoroughly. And sometimes you just have to have a couple glasses of wine and shake some ass. Okay? Trauma is stored in the hips. You got to twerk that shit out.
Maybe that's been my problem all these years.
You're not shaking ass enough.
No one taught me how to shake ass.
Yeah. To be fair, no one taught me either. I just started doing it for fun.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
You have a great ass, though.
Oh my God, thank you. Grew it myself.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh. What a week it's been.
Well, speaking of ass.
Oh my God.
Our first book.
Oh my God, no, Jess.
I told you, I am done having my shit together for the evening, and so... Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our Pride Month Readathon. Anything can happen.
Oh my God.
Anything at all. And so, you know what? We actually have a badly annotated first here, ladies and gentlemen. So, our first book of our Readathon, our first week of June, we spent reading Swordcrossed by Freya Marsk. Let me find a description. I was only half prepared. All right, so Matinash J, dutiful heir to his struggling family business, needs to hire an experienced swordsman to serve as best man for his arranged marriage. Sword challenge at the ceremony could destroy all hope of restoring his family's wealth, something Maddie has been trying and failing to do for years. What he can afford, unfortunately, is part-time con artist and full-time charming menace, Luca Pierre. Luca, for his part, is trying to reinvent himself in a new city. All he wants to do is make some easy money and try to forget the crime he committed in his hometown. He didn't plan on being blackmailed into giving sword lessons to a chronically responsible and inconveniently handsome wool merchant like Maddie. This is the longest summary ever. However, neither Maddie's business nor Luca himself are quite what they seem. As the days count down to Maddie's wedding, the two of them become entangled in the intrigue and sabotage that have brought Maddie's house to the brink of ruin. And when Luca's secrets threaten to drive a blade through their growing alliance, both Maddie and Luca will have to answer the question, how many lies are you prepared to strip away when the truth could mean losing everything you want? Okay, so prior to reading this book, we have a DNF rule for podcast books. Okay. For those that don't know, DNF stands for did not finish, as in I could not bear to complete this book and I would rather simply close it. Okay. And our rule before was if one of us had to DNF, we have to at least get to 50% before we can say that we're done.
Yeah. Just for the sake of still being able to have stuff to say.
Yeah. This book changed that. Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm. We amended the rule.
Yeah. Never before have we both decided that this was a DNF. This has never happened before.
No.
It was unprecedented. And so if we are both DNFing, we do not need to reach 50%.
Yeah. Yep. We decided.
I got pretty darn close. I got to 45.
Yeah. I made it to... What did I make it to? 27?
Yeah, I think 27. And you're like, do you want me to make it to 45? And I went, don't do that to yourself. Because, my lord, I have seen elderly women run faster than this book. What the fuck, dude? Like,
literally what?
Oh what is going on? Why is it like that?
Why is it like that? Like, okay, there is something to be said for like the concept was good, And like there are some parts of it, like do not get me wrong, and I'm always, as a writer, so hesitant to like say, like, give like negative reviews. Like, I give the benefit of every doubt, okay? When it comes to that kind of thing, because no matter what, an author poured their heart and soul into this work.
Absolutely.
And that should be honored regardless of whether or not I personally enjoyed the book. So, like, all this is, like, not anything, like, Freya Marsk, girl, you wrote a book.
Like, 450 odd pages. That is no small feat. However, they just did not tickle our fancies.
No, and so, like, there are aspects of it that are great, and the concept is great. It just, the execution, like, honestly, this book just felt like it needed to go through a couple more rounds of structural editing. Because, like, there are so many scenes and so many things that just did not need to be in there, and that was, like, so unnecessary long. And it just took so long. This book genuinely put me into a reading slump.
Yeah, it was not my flavor of slow burn.
No. Like, but like, that wasn't even the part that I didn't like. Like, the part that I did enjoy was like the moments of tension between the two characters. Like, that was kind of hot. I kind of liked that a lot. And like the way that there's like that sort of give and take while they're like, you know, doing these sword fighting lessons. But my problem was like the lack of like the motivation did not make sense.
No.
The motivation did not make sense. Like, why do you need sword lessons? Like, is the whole point that you just did that because Luke was hot? Like, what?
Like, sure, just for funsies, I guess. But, like...
For someone so busy who already has no time.
You'd think you'd rather, you know, sleep.
Yeah.
Swim, as you said that you were really into. Yes, there's something to be said about, you know, doing things just for the enjoyment of it. We do that all the time. But I don't know. It felt a little weird. It did.
It was weird. And like, I understand that we were going for just like cozy vibes, but what finally did it for me, like the nail in the coffin of like, I cannot keep reading this, is when it started to get into his internal monologue about his sort of ethical debate between his engagement to this woman.
Oh my God. And that happens so many times.
Yeah. And like, and between this thing with Luca, and I'm like, okay, like, she's being so nice and she obviously intends to like make the best of the situation and form a relationship with you. And she's not dating anybody else to be respectful of you. And you're just like completely lusting after this other guy. And like, you're going over to his place and you're doing all this stuff that like is not respectful to the agreement that you made. And he like didn't see a problem with that. And so that for me was what finally was like, I cannot keep reading this. Like, I can't do this. There's no way.
Yeah. It did not spark a fire in my brain.
No.
You know what I mean by that? I chase that feeling when I read, and it was not giving. However, it did give to some. And we actually have a voice memo from the ever so lovely Michelle, because just because this book didn't tickle our fancies, that's not to say that anyone else won't enjoy it. We're not saying that, you know, don't read this book, you're gonna hate it. It's just not our cup of tea. But please sit back and enjoy this review from the low-key infamous Michelle at this point.
She's my favorite listener. I love her so much. She emails me.
Yeah.
Hi, Jess and Hannah. This is Michelle. I want to start by apologizing because I said I would read all of these wonderful books for Pride Month, and I have made it 75% of the way through only the very first book, Sword Crossed. I figured I'd give you my thoughts on Sword Crossed, which I am about 75% of the way through. I have just spoiler alert in case it's going to matter. I don't think it will. I've just found out Luca is from the Hart family, and I'm really glad the author explained what the Hart family was, because my brain was like, wait, who? Why are these people important? Before finally, like, cluing it all together. And then Maddie, his sister Maya, and Sophia, his betrothed, are scheming, and that's kind of where I've left off. So I don't actually know what's going to happen, how it's going to end, but Maddie is heartbroken, Luca's heartbroken, everybody is heartbroken, myself included, quite honestly. This is the first book I've actually ever read that is a male romance, and it really drove home the idea that, like, people love people, and it's not really so different, despite what parts you might have, which is kind of a fun realization for me. Like, I think logically I understand that, but now emotionally I also understand that. I've really been enjoying the book. I really like the writing. Some of my notes that I've taken so far is that the author really describes anxiety and existential dread really well. Like, that got my breathing a little tight going through some of these. I love Sophia, and I hope that whatever the resolution to this book is, that she doesn't get screwed, because she's fiery. She's ready to dismantle the patriarchy with that, like, stupid idiot that won't take her word for her not being interested in him. I kind of hope she ends up with Maya. I'm not gonna lie. I think there's something there, but maybe I'm just seeing what I want to see. The writing between Maddie and Luca feels like it's a sword play. Like, they're pairing each other. The give and the take, going back and forth, is really cool. And I love how protective Luca is of Maddie's mental space, and he won't let Maddie make things worse for himself. Like, it's really sweet to read about somebody who finds that bit of calm in the midst of their panic, and it's, in the presence of somebody else. And I think if you've ever kind of really loved somebody, you can understand where that comes from. I did actually annotate a little bit. Well, I didn't annotate. I highlighted a couple things that I thought were really cool. One of them is, like, from page 15. Just to illustrate how much I liked the writing, is the coat was a near black and tailored to fit like a possessive pair of hands. I thought that was just really, like, an interesting turn of phrase. I like that they call a hangover Maha's revenge. One of the other ones I highlighted was the silver trout of an expression. I don't even know what that means. I'm guessing, like, that whole, like, bright flash of something in the water, similar vibes. And then, I'm not going to read them all because I've realized there's quite a few. And the other one I really like is Maddie didn't quite laugh, but laughter appeared on either side of his eyes and his teeth flashed in his smile. And then watching how much Luca really likes to see Maddie's, like, bright smile is really heartwarming. So, honestly, I think this is going to end up being a 4 or 5 star read. That will depend on the ending and how tidily it gets wrapped up. I don't think I would mind an ending where it's all love and roses. I think that'd be really sweet. Books are rarely that kind to us, though, so as long as they don't get screwed over in a stupid way, I'll probably give it 5 stars, because the vibes are immaculate in this book, and I really liked reading about it. I think it was really good to have a different perspective on romance, one that I couldn't possibly be part of because I don't have the right appendages, but seeing how similar it is to every other, like, romance I've ever read is actually kind of heartwarming and nice to know that really we're not so different. But still, reading that and seeing that representation, I think, is really important, and I kind of think we should all read books about everything that's a little bit different than ourselves, because everybody deserves to be seen. I'm going to stop now before I embarrass myself further. Let me know what you think. Okay, bye!
Even though this book was a DNF, I also hope that Sophia and Maya end up together, because I love that idea.
First and foremost, we have to get that comment out of the way.
Hell yeah for Sapphic romance.
Woo!
Yeah, so this goes to show how, people that even like the same books a lot of the time, like, Michelle has a very similar reading style in terms of romance. Like, she is also a monster girly, a paranormal girly. She has read The Bonds That Tie, and she loved this. That blew my mind. It blew my freaking mind. And I emailed her back even, and I was just like, dude, I hate to break it to you, but neither of us are finishing this one book that you read. And so she did ask us to share our method for deciding a DNF.
Okay. So, okay. So I hadn't listened to that until just now. So okay, let me, hold on.
At your leisure.
listening to her saying what she loved about it, I can see where she got that from. Like, I can see all of those things. I also highlighted some stuff because there were some lines in there that I was like, ooh, that was like cutting, or like that struck me in a way. And so like I can see where she's coming from. And then same with like the like their like give and take. Like I was saying, like I really like those scenes of tension. My problem is that those things that were so good were so like they were
far apart.
Yeah, they were so far apart, and there was a lot of stuff in the middle that just like didn't need to be there. And so that's what did it for me, so that it ended up dragging. But if this had like gone through some more structural editing and like really like sparked that sort of tension and that like sweetness and the give and take between these characters, and like if the book had sparked that and then like kept it consistent throughout the whole book, this would have been a 5 stars for me, honestly. Like, and I easily would have finished it, probably would have flown through it, because I love romance like this, and the parts that were actually romance were good. It was just that whole ethical debate and the risk of my girl Sophia being fucked over. Like, I couldn't do it. But like, I can see where Michelle's coming from, and I'm so happy that we have that to include, because like, yes, it wasn't for us, but like it is for some people. And like, it was just like, it's not, I don't think it's a bad book. It's just like not my vibe. And I'm so happy that Michelle liked it. And also like just that it like drove home for her like the whole like the importance of representation and things like that. Like I always say, read some shit that doesn't look like you. And so I just liked that.
Yeah. I love how she worded it with saying that, you know, you can logically understand something, but now she also emotionally understands it. And I thought that was a very eloquent way to phrase that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that's that. And that is precisely why I always say, read some shit that doesn't look like you. Oh, okay. So that's fantastic. And then as for my criteria for a DNF, honestly, as soon as because basically my rating system in my head is that all books start at a 5 and then they just go down for everything I encounter as I'm reading it that I'm like, ooh, no. And so it'll just go down as soon as the rating in my head, like the running rating in my head, goes lower than a 2.5 or a 2, then I'm like, okay, I need to stop.
My system's a little bit different because, as you all know, I'm also a vibes rater. And so, you know, if a book is 5 stars for me, it's one of those books that I'm thinking about it even when I'm not physically reading it. I want to go read that book. I want to finish my work day so I can go home and read. That is a 5-star book, and it's waiting for me. Okay? A DNF is the exact opposite. If it feels like a chore, I'm done. If I look at my Kindle and I go, oh, I do not want to read that right now, or oh my god, chapter seems like a lot to get through right now. Girl, a chapter is like 8 pages. You read more than that every day. You read multitudes more. 8 pages should not feel like a drag. And so as soon as it does feel like a drag, that's when I'm done. Doesn't happen often. I've maybe DNF'd 4 books in the past 2.5 years. But when it does, those books definitely stick in there. But yeah, it's got to spark joy, in my opinion. If it's not doing that, it's not worth wasting the time over.
I think this is like somewhere in between that. Like, I'm not never going to pick up this book again because I'm curious to see how it ends. I just want to be able to do it when like I can go really slow and like there's not any like time pressure to finish it. Yeah, so like this is like a soft to medium DNF for me because I'm like, no, this is just not it. Like it's just dragging so much. Right now, no. Especially because like at the time, like we have a whole like the rest of the readathon to get to, and like this book put me in such a slump that like I actually haven't, like there's a few days left in June still, and I haven't actually finished the other books yet. I'm like partway through all of them. So I do have comments for you because I'm doing the readathon still. I just, you know, this book like took so long and was just like so draining because I think I'm in the mood for like more action, more plot, and this is just not that. So, which is unfortunate because I really wanted to like it. It's so pretty.
Yeah, it's got a nice cover.
Yeah, and I do like the two characters. Like their personalities are like I liked them, and their distinct voices. I liked them a lot. I just like couldn't get through the in between stuff. Yeah. So that's it for me.
Yeah, that was Sword Crossed by Freya Marsk. And moving into week 2, we delved into a YA, which is a little out of the ordinary for us, but we wanted to get a little bit of a mix of books for this readathon. And so this is a Sapphic paranormal YA romance. We read Afterlove by Tanya Byrne. And so this book is about when Ashana Prasad meets Poppy Morgan on a school trip, she's sure it's too good to be true. Ash has never had much luck with girls, but Poppy proves different. Coffee dates turn to museum trips until soon the two girls can see a future together. One that's seemingly snatched from them when a hit and run takes Ash's life on New Year's Eve. As the last person to die before midnight, Ash is bestowed the title of Reaper, tasked with finding lost souls and helping them cross over. Only those close to death can perceive a Reaper, so when Ash runs into Poppy one lonely night, and Poppy recognizes her, they can't be sure if it's a second chance they've so desperately wished for, or tragedy lying in wait. So I think it's obvious why I chose this one.
We know who picked this book.
Yeah, I wanted a little spooky. Okay, I was on a murder binge before this readathon, and so I needed a, segue.
A sagoo.
Yeah, we needed a sagoo, and so that's what this book was. Do you want to start us off, or would you like me to?
I'm going to start us off, and I'm going to be real quick with it, because this is the one that I'm, the least of the way through, because I didn't read them in order. Sorry, guys.
Okay,
I did Sword Crossed, and then Providence Girls, and then Murder in the Dressing Room, and then now Afterlove. And I was doing it, and I knew already that I wasn't going to do them in order anyways, because I'm a mood reader, so I was just going to have them all on the go all month. So that's what I've been doing, but this is the one I'm the least of the way through. So
what's fucked up is I started Sword Crossed first, but I DNF'd it after I finished the other 3.
That was when we made the amendment, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you give us your thoughts. Tell me about it. Because fill me in, and then I'll, keep reading and I'll see.
Okay. So I enjoyed this one. I liked it more than I really thought I would. It's probably one of my top YAs, to be honest. I don't read much YA, if you couldn't tell by the everything. However, this one was pretty good. There was definitely some corniness, because it was very just centered around this teenage relationship, which of course can have a little bit of an ick associated with it, because it's you guys are 16, come on. That aside, we're just going to shelf that for the rest of this conversation, because otherwise it's all we'll focus on. And so I believe I gave this one 3.5 stars. It was almost a 4. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought the characters were diverse. I really enjoyed the lore of the Reapers and how that all works. And there was a reveal at the end that I kind of saw coming, but not quite in the way that science of it all, not really the science, but the system of the Reapers was explained. It still had a surprise in store for me, so that was nice. And yeah, just the characters as a whole, they were very personal and they were very real. Yes, they're Grim Reapers. However, they were real people before that, and they still carry that humanity with them. And the other Reapers that Ash meets, one of them, she, holds on to her memories from her life because she doesn't want to let go of that, because she thinks that if you let go of that, that's when you stop being a person. While her other companion, she completely ignores who she was when she was alive. She goes, this is where we are. This is what's real. And she just lives like that. And so it really shows the contrast between those two characters, and how even though, they have these separate outlooks on the afterlife and how they cope with it, they're still very close. They take care of each other, and they're basically sisters. It's very wholesome. It's very found family. And I really enjoyed that bit.
That's cool. I like character foils like that too. I think that as a literary device, that's really, it's always very profound, and it just makes things all that much more clear. And also like the whole, like the debate about like whether to hold on to things from your past or not. I feel like that's such a important psychological thing to consider, because it's very like holding on to your past versus not. That's like fundamental to who you are, and that affects everything, every aspect. And like it's also like like dwelling on the past is the root of a whole like slew of mental illnesses. But then at the same time, if you just drop everything, at what point are you no longer yourself? And how do you then, if you're not holding on to anything, how do you then define, how do you know yourself? How do you,
how do you motivate yourself? Any of it.
Yeah.
And like, especially at the age that these characters are at as well, because they're like 16, 17-year-olds. Like they're at that almost turning point in life, or they would be if they were alive. But it's a very pivotal point of your life as a young person. And they're having to deal with these literally life and death situations. So yeah, it's had a lot going on there. Also, they lived in a bookstore, so I like that.
That's the true star of the show, really, is the fact that they live in a bookstore, I feel. Yeah. That's awesome. That's so good to hear. And that makes me a little bit more excited about finishing it.
Yeah, I tried to keep it a little vague for you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Because, like, my problem with having to read books when I'm not in the mood to read them is that, like, I cannot find the motivation to pick them up at all, even a little bit. So, hearing that, and then also, like, hearing Michelle's note, too, I'm like, oh, wait, maybe I should go back and try that again. And so, like, that helps me a lot. Okay, cool. Good to know.
Oh, my God.
That's great.
I just remembered the climax of it as well. And yeah, you do need to finish After Love, because I knew exactly what was going to happen. I knew it, and it still gripped me.
Okay. And you gave it a 3.5 after all that?
In hindsight, I think it's more of a 4.
Okay.
I'd given a lot of 4 and 5s recently, though, so I was feeling a little self-conscious.
Make it a 4.25 or something, or like a 3.75.
Oh, I don't do the quarter stars. That's too hard to fill in my book. It's half or nothing, but I can bump it up to a 4.
Okay.
But yeah, the climax. Because I fully knew what was going to happen. I saw it going to happen about 5 pages ahead, and I just went, oh shit. And then it happened, and then the characters realized, and then I just went, okay. And it was so tense. It was wonderfully done. Like, the way that you knew it was going to happen, but you still felt the fear for the characters. Like, not every book can do that. Like, it's my number one complaint is if a book is predictable and I know what's going to happen because I'm not surprised. But the fact that I was still into it,
nice. Okay. Yep. Maybe what I'll do when I finish these, like by the end of June, maybe in the next week or so, I would like to finish them all. Maybe I'll make like reeling updates or something.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, and I'll make a little video and I'll let you know what I think. Okay. Cool. Awesome.
Great.
You're going to have to remind me which one was week 3 because I didn't read them in order.
That's okay. I actually think that I messed up the order because, as I said, it's been a long week. So now we're going to talk about Murder in the Dressing Room by Holly Stars, because I think that was actually week 2 and After Love was week 3. So sorry, guys. I'm a silly little goose.
All good. Whatever. I'm just going to release
no
this
rules.
episode. Whatever.
There's no rules. Okay. We're the ones making the rules. Yeah. So Murder in the Dressing Room by Holly Stars. It is a drag queen murder mystery. What more do you need? Truly.
Exactly. Period.
Yeah. I'm pulling up the description. I opened Spotify, not Kindle.
If that's not indicative of the week we've had.
Yeah.
I don't know what is.
Yeah. There's something wrong with my brain right now. I swear to God.
I told you to be a little bit more unhinged and you really just took it to heart.
And I said, got it.
Understood.
Say less. Okay. All right. Murder in the Dressing Room. A poisoned chocolate. A stolen dress. An elusive cat burglar. Drag's not just dramatic, it's deadly.
I love that description. Sorry, continue.
By day, Joe is a hotel accountant, invisibly sitting behind their desk and playing by the rules. By night, donned in sequins, they take to the stage as Misty Devine, a star of the London drag scene. But when Misty's drag mother, Lady, is found dead in her dressing room beside a poisoned box of chocolates, Misty and her fellow performers become the prime suspects. Heartbroken by their loss and frustrated by the clear biases of the police, Misty must solve the crime before the culprit strikes again. Among the drop-dead gorgeous lurks a cutthroat killer, and Misty Devine won't rest until she finds out who it is.
Dun dun dun.
I loved this book. I loved it so much.
Yeah, I'm not even finished it completely yet, and it's.
Oh my God.
I know it's going to be like a 4.5 for me for sure.
It's so good, dude. I had such a good time with this one, and I don't know if it was because I picked it up right after Sword Crossed and I just needed literally anything else, but this grabbed me and it held on tight, okay? I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. I read it so quickly. It is fun. It's adventurous. It's got mystery. You are really kept guessing on who the murderer is, which is great. And what's not to love about a drag queen? Hello?
Yeah. Period.
Like, talk about the most entertaining character design ever.
Yeah, this book, I loved it. I'm loving it. I didn't love it past
Presently.
tense. I'm presently loving it. I found myself, honestly, like, I'm not a very fast reader, like, in terms of, like, literally how many words per minute I'm reading. I'm really not that fast. And so usually, like, I can get through, like, 50, 60 pages in, like, an hour and a half, 2 hours. Like I'm not very fast at all. I just read a lot, and so that's how I get to all the books I read. But this book, it's so quick. Like, I'm finding myself
It's
like
really quick.
flying through it
It's
and
great.
like flipping the pages like crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever read this fast in my life. Like,
It's such a palate cleanser.
yeah, yeah. And it's not even just that. Like, it's got such a lovely balance between like campy sort of like the whodunit sort of thing with also some actually
like the glamour and
yeah, but then that's so balanced, like so perfectly balanced on a knife's edge between that and like actually serious thematic commentary. And it's loved
like legitimately well written.
Yes, it's like very well paced. It's very well put together. And also I like that because usually in these whodunits there's always some reason that the main character feels the need to get involved. And sometimes with these types of mysteries, that's where it falls flat for me because the motivation to get involved doesn't always make that much sense. But this was like, no, genuinely the police don't care at all simply because it was a drag queen. And like they're misgendering them all left and right. They're like using the wrong names. Like they're completely dismissing them simply because like this character
like,
happened to be a drag queen.
A burglar killed her. So let's find the burglar and find all the stuff they stole.
Yeah.
Hello,
and, like,
somebody's dead.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, what? Like, why is the murder not your top priority? So, like, it actually made sense why Joe wanted to get involved.
Uh-huh.
And so I was like, yes, okay, like, you genuinely have a reason to take things into your own hands, as you should. And it felt like an act of activism.
And the fact that they did it in heels.
Exactly. They killed
Period.
it, honestly.
Yeah.
And so I just really liked that. And I liked, I also liked Miles's character. That's Joe's boyfriend. His, like, voice of reason as well. He was like, I was just talking about character foils a second ago. He's such a beautiful
like,
character foil.
Maybe consider not doing this, Joe. And Joe's like,
no, but I have to.
I've considered it, and I think that I'm gonna anyway.
I think that I'm gonna anyways, because if I don't, who will?
Yeah. And then Miles went, guess you're right. Be safe,
okay,
though.
then. Yeah. Like, such a supportive man. Love him. But, like, the way that Joe, like is like, if not me, then who? That's the core of activism. That is the spirit of bravery. I personally believe wholeheartedly in the courage that drives one person to stand up for another. And this book exemplified that in such a beautiful way and in such a topical way, all while still being, like, glamorous and campy and entertaining and, like, having such a fun time. And it's sort of just like a spin on all of these tropes that we've all seen for so long. But, like, the author, Holly Stars, completely made it their own.
Totally.
Yeah. Completely made it her own. And so I just absolutely, I'm enjoying it. I'm having a great time and I can't wait to finish it.
I also can't wait for you to finish it.
Yeah, I just ran out of time. There's still 3 days left in June. I was fully gonna finish it.
You got time.
Yeah.
But no, after reading this, I would like Holly Stars to write 12 more murder mysteries. I think she killed it.
This is intended to be a series. It's projected to be a series. Like it says on the cover, Misty
the
Divine Mysteries. I'm like,
yeah.
And especially, you know what? I can see where it's going to, because, like, and maybe this is happening and I just haven't finished the book yet, but, like, the way that Joe, like, hates their job and hates what they're doing and wants to, like, do drag full time but isn't sure and, like, all this, like, I fully could see, like, a narrative where Joe decides that, like, being a PI is their calling, like, through this whole process. And, like I'm just curious to see, like, how the series will continue, but I can see it going that way of, like PI by day, drag queen by night, you know? Like, I think
the
that
most
would be
glamorous
so wonderful.
PI in town.
Yeah,
my God.
exactly.
Can you imagine, like, doing the PI in drag? Oh my God. I would trust her with my life.
Yes, and I love Misty Divine's character.
Oh my God, flawless.
And then the balance between, like, real life, like, day-to-day Joe and, like, the very strict, like, the boundary.
Yeah, where he's like, I can't do this as Joe. I wish I was Misty right now because she is confident. And if I were Misty right now, this would be easier.
Yeah.
And the fact that he struggles with that, like, numerous times, like, you can tell that Joe is, like, just not confident in themselves as a person. And that, you know, they use this character in order to, like, embody their own confidence, because, you know, like, I feel like we've all had that feeling at some point where it's just like, man, I am not the right person for this. I don't want to be here. I can't do this. But as soon as, you know, they put on their makeup, they put on the wig, the heels are on, they're a bad bitch and they're ready to go. Okay.
Yes.
They will knock a motherfucker down and not be sorry about it. And as soon as, you know, they feel that confidence, the character shift is immense. And it's so well done every single time. And it's consistently, like, you see it. And the development, the character, and just, like, the contrast between Joe and Misty. Oh.
Yeah. If I had read this during my queer book binge, this for sure would have ended up in the bingeable books episode. Like, it's
oh yeah,
so
it's hella
good.
bingeable.
It's so bingeable. It's so fun. And also, I had a lot of respect for drag as an art form before reading this.
I love me a drag brunch.
Yeah. And then now, like, having read this and, like, seeing sort of inside
Quote,
that
unquote,
perspective,
behind the scenes.
It's, you know what? It's exactly what Michelle said of, like, I obviously understood logically before, but now I understand it, like, emotionally. And I have so much more respect for drag as an art form, even more than I did before. And I had mad respect for drag.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it gives you a little bit more
respect.
of a look behind the curtain of like the mental side of it as well, just like who they are as a person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I love the representation.
Yes.
It's just fantastic.
Yeah, if we haven't mentioned it yet, Joe is also non-binary, so there's that representation. And yeah, they, like Hannah said, they go very much into, you know, the police are dead naming, they're misgendering, and they address it even. And they do it in a very positive way, like for, you know, addressing the fact that this is a problem in society. And Holly Stars does it wonderfully, I felt.
Yeah, she healed it. 10 out of 10, chef's kiss.
Period.
And I haven't even finished it. I didn't even finish the mystery. I'm just having such a good time.
Plate's clean. Yeah. Period. Well, our last book, we are back to Sapphic.
Shocker.
We read Providence Girls by Morgan Dante. This one's on Kindle Unlimited, if you are so inclined. Okay. Love changes you. So do the outer gods. Now, alone in a cottage, Lavinia writes to the woman she loved. 15 years ago, middle-aged Lavinia Whately escapes her hilly Massachusetts town when the townsfolk decide to sacrifice her on Halloween. After almost dying in the woods, she's saved and housed by the stoic and mysterious Asenath Waite, or Azzy. On the coastal outskirts of East Providence, they start to fall in love. However, things change when Azzy, with her secret past and the strange quote-unquote scars on the side of her neck, begins to transform into an eldritch creature of the deep. So, we went even spookier and
still Sapphic.
and still Sapphic. I did not mean to be on theme with my two picks, but boy, was I. I listened to this one on audio, and I binged it. It was a 4-hour listen on the speed that I listened to. And, oh my goodness, this one tickled my brain. Okay. I thought it was beautiful. I really enjoyed the relationship between the characters. I also thought the body horror was very fascinating. The transformation of Azzy into this like sea monster while she's living on land and refusing to like, you know, go back to the water and make this transformation easier on herself. She decides not to because, you know, she's doing it for the relationship. But she's like evidently basically torturing herself to do this. And there's just it was such a poetic book. And yeah, it made me feel, I feel like I definitely didn't retain as much of it because I listened to it on audio. However, this is one that I actually want to listen to again, like already, because I just legitimately enjoyed it that much that I would like to retain it further. However, it's also on Kindle Unlimited, so maybe I'll just read it. But yeah, I give it 5 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I felt like this was like, it was haunting, but it was beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. It was
haunting, but it was beautiful. And the relationship between the characters is gorgeous, and the writing style is so poetic and so beautiful. And it was just, and I'm not even done. This isn't like, I'm like in progress on all of these. Like I will finish them in the next week, but because this is another one that's also going really quick for me. And I know you had offered for me to listen to your audiobook, but I didn't want to because I wanted to read it and make highlights and like enjoy it. And
this is a beautiful book, and I feel like it's worth reading.
Yes, 100, and it's only like 250 pages. Like it's not
quick.
long, but it just yeah, like I felt something like, and I'm like still just like at the beginnings of like the transformation. And so like, I don't totally know like how it ends or exactly how that happens. Obviously I know what happens. It's in the description, but like, I haven't, worked that out yet. But you said that like she doesn't return because of the relationship?
Like,
To the
if I think so. Like, she has to go eventually, but like she drags it out, and it's because she like made this promise to stay or something like that. And it's stated that, if she were to return to the water sooner, like the transformation would go faster, it would be less painful, like it would just overall be much easier of a transition. And she chooses not to because this is the only time that she has left with her love.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And so that, just when you were saying that, it made me think of this. There's this Celtic folk song called The Maiden and the Selkie. And it's a story similar to that of like a Selkie comes to shore and falls in love with this maiden. And
that's what it's giving.
And they have to like figure out a way, like he can't stay on land, she can't go into the sea, and so like he can stay on land but he'll die if he doesn't return.
It's just very romantic and forlorn.
Yeah, it's romantic and very melancholic, but also like, it just makes you think. And then there's a lot of parallels between that and like it was giving to me the impression that this is very much inspired by, or like there's a lot of parallels between this and losing a loved one to like terminal illness. Like there's reference to like when Azzy starts losing her hair and stuff like that, and it's like that debate of like, do I get treatment or do I not and drag it out and stay with my family, and so that whole piece of it is like, it speaks to me. And like it also, I think another reason that this pulls on my heartstrings as I'm reading this is because for anyone who knows me, I am so obnoxious about telling people I love them and giving them hugs because you literally never know like when you're going to lose someone.
Could be the last one.
Exactly. Like you never know how long you have with someone, and you never know when you might get the next chance to tell them you love them, or to say you're sorry, or to hug them or hold them for a second longer. Like you literally never know. It could be the last one. And so this felt imbued with that feeling to me, like that feeling of like making the most of whatever time you have and holding on for just a second longer. And and like the beauty of that, and the way that we as people, as like naturally we want to love and have as much of it as we can, and that's just like, it's part of human nature. Like humans are not meant to be alone. And so I felt that this was really beautiful in that way. And like, even if there is loss, it's still gorgeous. And like, pain, it's better to have loved than lost than never to have loved at all.
That is the whole moral of this story.
This felt like an homage to that concept of like, you know what, you should give it your all anyways, even if it hurts.
Even if you know that it's only for so long.
Yeah.
Why not? You only get to do it once.
Exactly. So I have some quotes.
Beautiful.
To finish this off with.
I love quotes. Hit me with it.
Yeah. So one that struck me, and this is like very characteristic of this book, I'm finding as I'm reading it, is like the way that the dialogue is, because there's the dialogue and then it'll show like the internal thought in response of the other person, but they're not actually saying it yet. Like they're not actually communicating to each other yet. So they just have these little moments in their own head of just absolute reverence of each other, but like the other character still isn't aware of it. So there's that dramatic irony and that tension there. It's on page 55. One of them says, "All right, let me change first. I shouldn't be long." And then the thought after that is, "Change, but you were already beautiful." And like, that just like, that just,
it's just
struck me.
A wholesome story. I love their love for each other. I really do.
It's beautiful.
Like,
and the fact that
beautiful.
we're getting this representation in a Sapphic story as well, like that is gorgeous. And like the emotional depth, and like, you know, there's no feeling of like the token lesbian stereotypes, you know, like it's just like these are just real
it's just
people.
a woman and a sea witch, like,
and they're like so, and also they're both so like they've been through so much.
Yeah, their character is albino.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that. It's an albino and a sea witch. Okay, they're both a little weird, and so they're both a little outcast from society, and they just find each other, and they live on the seaside together.
Yeah.
It's
gorgeous.
It's so good.
Yeah,
it's so
beautiful.
good.
Yeah, so like it's giving that quote that's like, you know, you're a little weird, we're all a little weird, and when we find someone who's weird and syncs up with our weird, we fall into a mutual weirdness and call it love. Has anyone ever heard that quote? Anyways, that's what this makes me feel like.
Bars.
Also, just the description, like the way they think about each other. Like I have another quote here from the next page 56. I think this is Vin describing Azzy, if I'm not mistaken. And she's like writing, truly, when I think of it, you are maybe more like a funeral white lily, ghostly, somber, and tense, with petals that are thick as parchment and not quite as easily bent, closer to flesh. You are also like a lily with their male-female parts, in that you occupied the two spaces effortlessly. Like the color of the sea, of your eyes, you were liminal, human and inhuman, on the precipice of dying, like I once believed all women were, spring and autumn, death and the maiden.
Oh my God.
Right?
Oh my God.
It's so beautiful. And that so just good. Like packed so much perfectly into a sentence of like how they feel about each other, the book's commentary on women, the book's commentary on queerness, the book's commentary on androgyny, the book's commentary on, you know, death and life. Like it just
and the quality
is so,
of the writing style.
It's like packed in there, and it's such a short book, but it's so profound. It's so profound.
I was very glad that we picked this one.
Yeah, I'm very glad too. So I have one more. Okay. I just realized from the next page 57. Through my hair, you looked like you were suppressing a laugh, and I realized I must look funny. For once, I wasn't embarrassed. We sat together in a silence easier than it should have been.
That is the best feeling. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is love, ladies and gentlemen. When you can just be your most honest self in front of another person and not worry at all that they think you're being weird or unnatural or just like what you're doing is off-putting. You can just be there and be comfortable and feel safe and loved. Oh my God. That is what that feeling is. And that's so
yeah. So those are my quotes.
This book gives me feelings.
Yeah, this book is beautiful. I think, honestly, it might be a 5 stars for me. I'll see.
Yeah.
As I keep going. Which is shocking because it's horror.
I know.
But we'll see. I'll make a video or something.
It's romantic.
It's romantic. It's beautiful.
So romantic.
Yeah. So yeah, those are my quotes for you. I'll let everyone know at some point in some way when I finish it and what I think about it. So, yeah, that was our readathon. What do we do to end it off?
Yeah.
With Providence Girls. Happy Pride, Girls, everybody.
By Morgan Dante. Happy Pride. Yes. So, we've talked about a lot of queer books this month. If there are some that we missed that, you know, you're sitting here and you're thinking to yourself, man, these girls would lose their absolute marbles over this book. Well, you can message us to us on Instagram or Threads at badlyannotatedpod, or you can email it to us at badlyannotatedpod@gmail.com. And if you're not sure where to find all of our links, I'll tell you where they are. They're in our Instagram bio. And with that, queerest wishes. Happy Pride Month.
Sincerely, Jess and Hannah.